I'm Nicole. I'm the president of K&Co, and for the past 30 years, our sole focus, our sole passion has been about helping teams and leaders to thrive more and struggle less at work. Our sole focus has been to help teams and leaders to achieve better results far more easily with less struggle. And so today is about joy. So I'd like you just to close your eyes for a few seconds for me. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath and evoke a feeling of great joy. Conjure up a memory, an image, an experience that brings you a feeling of joy. Hold on to that for a second. Feel that feeling of joy. Now take a deep breath and open your eyes. Doesn't that feel great? Now raise your hand if you thought of work. Look around. We don't equate joy with work enough. In my experience, in my 20 years of research in helping teams and leaders to thrive, I have discovered that far too many people believe that joy is the exception at work. Far too many people believe that true joy is reserved for moments outside of work, like the smile of a child. Whoops, you missed that one, right? Or spending time with your bestie, or cheering on the Raps at Jurassic Park in the rain, right? That is how we think of and experience joy on a regular basis. Rarely do we see joy on a leader's to-do list or on a strategic plan. But what if joy were the norm and not the exception in our daily work? Imagine a workplace filled with people who were feeling exactly what you just felt. Imagine the results teams would create, the energy, the momentum, the productivity, and the feelings of wellness that would permeate through your organizations when joy is the norm. I love this quote from Deming. Management's overall aim should be to create a system in which everybody may take joy in their work. Everybody. Deming focused and promoted the belief that joy leads to greater quality and a high-performance organization. And interestingly, do you know what industry is leading the charge in joy in work right now? The healthcare industry. The Institute for Healthcare Improvement in the US is focused on improving joy in hospitals and health systems across the US to directly combat burnout, the crisis of burnout in healthcare, and the nursing shortage. And they know, research has shown, that when we focus on improving joy in work, in healthcare, for example, they will save more lives. There will be fewer errors, better quality care, and safer care. So I'm going to share with you today 5 factors that must be present within your workplaces in order to enable your people to derive greater joy. Sorry, I walk around a lot. And my ask of you is to take these factors back to your workplaces and spark a dialogue around the meaning of joy and what matters most to your staff, and whether these factors are prevalent and consistent within your organization and your teams. So the first factor is no-brainer, strong relationships. Okay, we just heard about the loneliness factor, right? People derive joy when they're connected to a network of people who are committed to a common goal, who share common purpose, who are connected to people who trust and respect one another, to people who they feel safe being themselves with, and with people who challenge each other to be their best selves. Now, developing strong relationships today at work can be more challenging because of the types of teams that we work in, right? We have multiple generations in our teams, different work styles, different cultures. We have virtual teams of people who are across the world who may never meet face to face. And Intuit Canada is actually predicting that by the end of this year, almost 50% of our workforce here in Canada will be made up of non-traditional workers, right? The gig economy. And so that changes the impact, that impacts the kinds of relationships we form. And so how are you arming your leaders, and how is the system in which you work set up to create quality relationships that may not be long-term, where people can derive joy from their relationships, create safe collaborative ones when they may not be in the same space, when they're from different generations, and when they may not be here next week. Relationships are a key factor. Responsibility and meaningful work, we heard this as well with Nicole. Do your leaders know what matters to each of their team members? Do they know what meaningful work means to their team members? When we are connected to initiatives and responsibility that align with our purpose and give us the opportunity to contribute meaningfully to our organization and the people that we serve, we will derive joy and we will be able to bring our best selves. So how equipped are your leaders to have conversations around what is meaningful to you in this role or in this organization, in this team, and how can I support you in doing meaningful work? Strengths, we heard about this as well from Nicole, so you've saved me a couple of minutes. Thank you, right? Do your leaders take a strength-based approach with their team members? Are your team members given the opportunity to bring their unique gifts forward? Are they recognized for their strengths in ways that are meaningful to them? Not in a check-the-box, pat-on-the-back way, in ways that are meaningful to each employee and recognize their unique strengths in a genuine way. Are they able to shine? And as Nicole shared, when people leverage their strengths, they learn faster, they produce far better results, they feel better, they're engaged, and they're loyal and stay longer. Positive energy. This is the how full is your bucket rule of joy. Has anybody read that book to their kids? Right? Fill each other's bucket. Every interaction is an exchange of energy. We can fill someone up or we can deplete them. How does it feel to be a part of the teams in your organization? Does it feel good and light and energetic with momentum moving forward? Does it feel heavy and toxic and stifling where people feel depleted at the end of the day? Or does it feel complacent where people have the, well, why bother? Nothing's ever going to change. That is just as much of a joy suck as the toxic environment. So consider how your teams feel and how is energy being created. Energy is contagious. What energy are your leaders bringing into the organization? And then finally, joy is created and derived through choice and autonomy. How much flexibility do your team members, does your staff have in their day, in how they choose to go about achieving the objectives in front of them? Do they have a voice on their team? Are they involved in decisions that directly affect them? We know, research has proven this time and time again, the more autonomy people have, the more accountable they are, the better work they do, the more joy they will derive. And so how do you do this? So I'm going back to the IHI. They have outlined a phenomenal framework that they're rolling out. You can find this online. I'm happy to chat with you about it. But there's two important things to keep in mind if you're committed to joy in the workplace. The first, have conversations. Listen. Ask your staff what matters to them at work. And I'm going to come back to some questions for you in a minute. Then, through that conversation, you identify what's impeding joy in our workplace, given what we've learned. And this third step is really important. If you're committed to joy in work, take a systems approach, an approach that ensures a shared accountability to enabling greater joy in everyday work. And that accountability also includes staff. Joy can be a choice. Accounting is not joyful for me. I derive no joy from it. But if I chose to, I could probably find a place there for joy. But I'm not choosing to at the moment. So joy can also be a choice. We can seek it out in our daily work. So what is the system and accountability in your organization for joy and shared responsibility? And then measure and test. There's no validated measure for joy at the moment, but I'm happy to chat with you about how you can measure it. So at the very least, I encourage you to please take some questions and spark dialogue with your teams around joy. What matters most to you at work? What makes for a good day for you? What makes you proud to work here? And when we are at our best, what does that look like to you? So thank you so much, and I look forward to continuing the conversation.